We've been going through in the Philippines, and now we're going through this in the United States, of a great challenge to the church. You have the RH bill that's before the Philippines. That legislation will change the character and nature of the Philippines if it becomes law. Right?
Yes.
It's the beginning of the end of the Philippines being a truly Catholic country, of Catholic families, Catholic principles. You can't build culture of life, civilization of love, if you have at the heart of your government a commitment to abortion. Impossible. Impossible. So we have to defeat it. And the organization that has to be number one in defeating the RH bill is the Knights of Columbus. And the only way we can do that, is if we remain absolutely, unbreakably united with our priests and our bishops. The first thing the other side does to weaken the church is to split the laity from our priests. First thing. And so we have to maintain that that will never happen in the Knights of Columbus. And if it never happens in the Knights of Columbus, we have the potential that it will never happen in the church in the Philippines. When you think about this century is the Asian century, right? Right?
Yes.
The Asian century. So, what does the Asian century mean? What does it mean for Catholicism? What does it mean for the church? The church going to grow? The church going to be part of Asia? Or is it going to be pushed to a sideline? Who will decide that in large measure? Who will decide that in large measure? Are the Catholics and the priests in the Philippines? Catholics and the priests in the Philippines. So what we do together is absolutely essential to the life of the church, not only in our country, but the life of the church in half the world. In half the world. So what happens in the Philippines is very, very important. So what we need to do is we need to build strong leaders. We need to build priests who are strong leaders. We need to build laymen who are strong leaders. And most of all, we need to build an association in which priests and laymen work together for the good of the church. That the laymen don't try to be priests, and the priests let the laymen do what the laymen can do best. And if we can do that, then we will have a very, very strong organization and a bright future for the Philippines. A bright future for the Philippines. I think the HR bill is the beginning of pushing the church to the side in the life of society. Pushing the church to the side. Because here's the central problem. If you ask the layman, okay, mostly we're men here, but if you ask, let's be very serious. If the church is wrong about marriage, if the church is wrong about the transmission of human life, if what the church teaches is wrong about contraception, sterilization, abortion, so if the church is wrong on Humane Vitae, and the church is wrong on Evangelium Vitae, why should the cock is crowing? So I better hurry up before he does it again. But let's face it, if the church is wrong about these issues for the married man, why should the married man think Why should the married woman think that the church is right about other things? Because these issues, humane vitae, evangelical vitae, are central every day for the married couple, for the family. It's their life every day. And if the church is wrong every day, why do we expect the laymen, the laywomen to think the church is right about everything else? It's that beginning of doubt. It's the apple in the garden that begins to crumble. The fidelity, the faith, the commitment of Catholic families. So we have to be right. And we have to win. We have to win. And we're not just competing against wealthy organizations or big drug companies. We're also competing against spiritual powers. And so we have to use spiritual weapons. And we have to use our political weapons. And we have to be smart. And we have to fight back smartly. So I'm going to tell the convention tonight, number one issue, Knights of Columbus, defeat our age bill. We need to form our men, our Catholic men, so they will be good husbands, good fathers, good businessmen, good citizens. And for that, we need the help of our priests. And for that, we need to increase devotion to Father McGivney as the leader. Because as we encourage devotion to Father McGivney, we encourage the understanding of the dedication and the commitment of every priest who serves the people of God in his parish. Right? But Father McGivney is not a hero missionary who goes out or a martyr who is tortured and killed. Father McGivney represents the parish priest who day after day after day, without a lot of attention, is the hero for the families of his parish, and is the commitment and the sacrifice every day for the people of God in his parish, entrusted to him in his parish. The life expectancy of a priest in New England when Father McGivney lived was 37. Father McGivney could have been a lawyer. He could have been a businessman. He was a smart student. He came from a good family. There were many things Father McGivney could have done. And he could have lived a longer life. But instead, he chose the life of a priest, knowing of the hardships and knowing that his life would be shorter than his neighbors because of that service. So devotion to Father McGivney carries with it devotion, commitment, fidelity with our parish priests. And that's in part why it's so important. It's so important for the Knights of Columbus because it gives us that witness of the priest and it brings the laymen more closely united with our priests. So if you can help devotion to Father McGivney, and I said today, and I was serious, I really hope that if we get the miracle soon for Father McGivney's beatification, it comes here in the Philippines, because that would be great. It would be great to show the world the future and to show every brother knight in Canada, in the United States, in Mexico, in Cuba, in Poland, the important role of the Knights of Columbus in the Philippines. So I think that's primarily my message. I think we're at 288,000 members. So next year we go over 300,000. And once we go over 300,000, then we have to go to 400,000. Right? Once we have to go to 400,000. And think, 400,000 men It's a big movement, and it's a movement that can continue to grow. And if it continues to grow, it will make a big difference. It can make a big difference in the history and future of the Philippines. And that's what we have to do. We have to make our society, maybe it's not so much in the thinking of Philippines, but in the thinking of the United States, a lot of Catholics have given up. A lot of Catholics have given up. You hear from priests and bishops, we have to be countercultural. We have to be a Catholic culture among the church. We can't be the same culture as the society, the secular society. I'm not interested in being countercultural. I don't want to be countercultural. I want to convert the culture. I want America to have a Catholic culture. I don't want Catholics to be a minority in my country. I want Catholics to be the majority. I want a country in which the Catholic principles, charity, unity, fraternity, are the fundamental principles, not selfishness, not egotism, not individuality, not secularism. Who wants those principles? I just spent a couple of days in Korea visiting our Knights of Columbus councils in the military and our brother Knights working in the military there. They refer to Korea as the Asian tiger. How does a tiger live? A tiger lives in the jungle. The only way a tiger lives is if other animals die. How many more tigers do we need? What we need in Asia is a good Samaritan. What we need is a country that lifts up the best values of our faith. That's what the Philippines has the possibility of doing. I was talking to the Cardinal Archbishop of Seoul and the Archbishop of the military and the Papal Nuncio, who's from the Philippines. All three talked about the fact that now Korea has a crisis because people no longer have children. People now have a hard time educating their children. Divorce, separation, marriages are becoming more difficult. Families are becoming more difficult. What's the greatest resource? What's the greatest resource of any country? It's the people. It's the people are the greatest resource. And so, a country like Korea is a great country, but a country like Korea is getting economic progress in part by destroying the family. So what will their future be? What will their future be? Philippines has a bright future because Philippines has great people. And as long as the Philippines forms people, preserves marriage, preserves family, Philippines ultimately can have a great future because it will have great people. We have to ensure that those families are Catholic families, that those marriages are Catholic marriages, that people, when they go into business, think like Catholics. When they vote as citizens, they think like Catholics, with principles of honesty and integrity and fairness when they deal as businessmen or when they deal in the government. So, that's what we have to do. It's a big job. It's a big job. But I don't know of any organization better to do this in the Philippines or in the United States. And so we have a proud tradition together for many, many years, for over a century. And I think the future for us is going to be greater. You think of what the Knights of Columbus in the Philippines accomplished with 50,000 members, with 100,000 members. Think of what you're accomplishing with 300,000 members. And someday it'll be 400,000. And someday it'll be 500,000. So, that's our mission. And together, we will accomplish a lot. And so I want to thank each of you for your contribution, each of you for your dedication. for your fidelity to the church, to the Knights of Columbus, and to building really what John Paul II called the culture of life for the civilization of love. People deserve that. People don't deserve RH building. People deserve a culture of life where everyone, when they're born, is welcome, where everyone is respected, where everyone is given an opportunity. That's what we have to stand for. That's what we have to stand for. And you can never, if you deny some people, you can never achieve that. Right? If you deny the dignity of some people, or you don't respect some people, or you say, you know what, handicapped or unborn, we don't need them. We can do without them. You can't build a great society on that. You can have material progress, but you can't build a great culture, a great society. So that's what we have to do. So, we got a convention here that's going to start pretty soon. So I don't want to do all the talking. But Father, I'll let you finish the meeting. And Monsignor, I want to thank you especially for everything you've done to help us.